All right. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, funny enough, at the time of this recording, it's actually official release day for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero across the globe for anybody that purchased the regular edition of the game. And obviously, I made this very clear, I purchased the Ultimate Edition. Like many others, there was no way in hell that I was gonna wait out an extra 3 days if I could help it, because obviously I was going to eventually get the DLC and season pass and stuff like that anyways, so I may as well get it as soon as possible and benefit from it by learning the game and just playing as much as I possibly could 3 days early. Right now, of course, yes, those 3 days are an advantage, but you know, while I do have other responsibilities and stuff like that, you know, I spent every ounce of time that I could with that game. And before we get into anything within this video, please note, I love this game so incredibly much. I easily see myself throwing thousands upon thousands of hours into this game. I know a good couple of my friends will definitely want to run the ones every now and again. I know a bunch of people that I've introduced this game to, or that their friends have introduced this game to, so that they can run the ones with their buddies once they fully learn the game. We'll be able to run tournaments forever. It's just going to be so much fun to be able to always come back to this game and continue to get better and understand all of the fun and unique mechanics that this game offers. And it's just such a good time. It is such a time to be alive. I'm so happy that I got to exist around the same time as this game, and if I'm not careful, this could easily end up being one of my top 10s. Easily, because already, without a doubt in my mind, this game has more or less already reached one of my top 5 games this year. And I played a good couple of games this year, including Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which right now still has the crown for best game this year. I'm about to play Metaphor in about an hour when that drops, so we'll see what that holds, you know what I'm saying? Plucky Squire was great, Legends of Zelda was awesome, you know what I'm saying? I played a lot of games, but I already know that Ultimate Tenkaichi is just gonna have my whoa, not that game, what the heck? Sparking Zero, Jesus Christ, I don't know where that came from, whoopsie daisy. But I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with this game, and so I just need y'all to know that before we get into the talk about updates that I really feel like we should be getting eventually for Sparking Zero. There's a lot of things in this game that, you know, while I still love it to hell and back, obviously no game is perfect, and there's a lot of things that this game could definitely utilize to become better throughout the coming years. Now, I can definitely see them easily updating and supporting this game based on player feedback and updates, and just, you know, just supporting this game for as long as possible. If Xenoverse could get support for 10 years, this game could do that no problem. That's an exaggeration, by the way. I think it was like 8 years or something, but yeah, Sparking could get that kind of support no problem, easily. So just putting it out there, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna need to see hella support and updates for this game throughout the next coming years. And these are just a couple of things that I have listed here that I would really love to see going forward. First, we're gonna start with things that I would really love to see from the story. Now, obviously, before we go forward here, very obvious spoiler warning, I'm going to be talking about a couple of things here and there that are spoiler-esque for the story. I know the game is still brand new, and so I know a lot of people are going to want to, you know, eventually get to these points in the story for themselves to find out what they do and didn't like, right? I've good and well already gotten to a lot of these points. I've played a bunch of the story, and so I would like to, you know, give my little input, give my little 2 cents here. So I would like to talk about that. Now, before we get into that too much, I would like to say I do enjoy the aspect of the story being a very hefty, just bunch of what if scenarios that really change things up. I didn't think too much about that going forward. Like, I didn't realize how heavily the what if scenarios were going to be implemented. I did not realize how crucial of a mechanic that was going to be. Like, what ifs are the primary meat and potatoes of the story, and honestly, that made it a lot more bearable than usual, because I and a lot of others have played hundreds of Dragon Ball games at this point, so that means we have gone through the original story of Z, or sometimes even Super on occasion, just hundreds of times by now, and I felt like it was definitely time to move on from that. But when we first heard that we were getting a story mode, I was 100% ready to just skip through everything just so I could go through the fights, get used to the game as quickly as possible, and then hop online, only to realize that I was getting a little more invested in some of these stories than I was intending, because they turned into what if scenarios, and that is great and that is awesome. However, there are some things that I would definitely like touched up upon in the next coming months or even years, however long it takes to do any of these things, because some of these on paper seem a little unreasonable, but given the amount of time we're probably going to be spending with this game and the amount of money they could probably make back easily, even from giving us these updates or DLCs or whatever, I could definitely see this kind of thing happening. So it's kind of like a why not type situation. It's just more of a like, hey, why not give us these things, because we're going to be spending absurd amount of times on this game, so we may as well look into, you know, what kind of updates and stuff you could give us. And as far as the story goes, the first concern that I have is the fact that some of the rewards, especially if you've played a lot after a good while, it doesn't feel like a lot of the what if scenarios are even all that worth pursuing, right? Now, obviously there's like direct storylines that they want you to follow for the what if scenario. Like, you could go through the regular story and just go through it the normal way as the, you know, as the story was told in Z or Super, or you could take a heavy branching path that branches off into an entirely different storyline based on who you're playing as, that changes up the story to a significant degree. However, there are some aspects in which it's just kind of a one-off scenario in which it doesn't really make much of a difference at all, right? And just as an example, I'll probably be using it as gameplay here, but the first example that came to mind was Piccolo's scenario, right? Because his story, you know, I love Piccolo. He's one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball history, easily. And I was really looking forward to seeing like what his story would be, only to see that it just didn't do too much. We'll get more into, you know, more specific stuff in a little bit here, or in a different video even. But essentially, it would just kind of either branch off into these little one-off, like, oh, Piccolo beat this guy himself, and then you get nothing out of that, or it would be an entire like 3 or so little battles or cutscenes, and it would just lead right back into the main story the exact same way, like it didn't even matter. It's like, why did we do that? What is the point of branching off and going out of our way if we get damn near nothing out of it? So I don't know. I felt like if we were going to do that, at the very least, if you're going to make it branch back into the main timeline, at least make it worth it to go out of our way by giving us specific prizes or more outfits or something like that. Maybe some specific outfits for Piccolo, like his driving outfit or something like that when he was wearing his little hat. I would have loved to battle with Piccolo in that outfit, but there's almost no real benefit to branching off when there are just times where you don't really get anything other than the, you know, guaranteed Zenny and experience points that are, you know, that have to come with the territory. So it's just one of those things where, at the very least, if you're going to give us stuff like that and it's going to kind of just cheat us out of our time a little bit, I feel like we should be compensated with a little more Zenny, or at least like some kind of outfits or, you know, special rewards or something like that that would make it a little bit more worth it. I'm just putting that out there. That's all. In a similar vein, there are some challenges that aren't exactly specific. It's usually a very similar situation with a lot of these scenarios in which it's, oh, beat this enemy, or your alternative option is to beat that enemy quicker. And it's like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It kind of implies like, oh, this character is stronger in this version, in this timeline, so that would be proven by us using this character to beat this significant or important enemy much faster than expected. So it makes sense that a lot of these scenarios are like that. It just kind of adds up. I feel like there could be a lot more unique challenges if down the line, maybe if we could throw that in too, that would be really cool to have maybe specific supers be used to end the battle more often, because I've only seen that like 1 or 2 times maybe throughout like all 4 or 5 of the playthroughs that I've done, or maybe lose to a specific enemy in a specific way. We've only seen that like 1 time. And then, like, I don't know, there's just a lot of different ways that you can implement more unique challenges to get these alternative routes. Or I guess not or, but, you know, specifically saying I would like to see a timer of some sort that could at least give me a general idea, because the timer up top is infinite for these battles, so you never know how much time has actually passed within the battle, so you can't really gauge how much time is necessary for you to beat an enemy. Like, you don't know how much time you need to beat an enemy before, and that's kind of annoying in a lot of situations, because there is a specific scenario that I beat. I thought I was beating it pretty damn fast, but it turns out I was still too slow, so I did it as quickly. Like, I learned how to cheese a lot of these story scenarios, and you know, one of these scenarios required that I beat it much faster than I was expecting. I was like, oh my god, okay. So I finally got it to work, and I'm like, dude, we need some kind of timers to like specify something, like, or at least something to look at, so that we know, oh, okay, this is how much time I need to beat this within. Or, you know, because that specific scenario, I could have seen a situation in which we had like a 3 or 4 minute timer, and then once that timer is up, you get the regular scenario, and then if you beat all of the enemies before that timer is up, then you get the alternative scenario, just so that we fully know, you know, at least we have a general idea, we can figure it out when to beat these enemies. Okay, so it's like, I don't know, it just kind of bugs me how like mysterious it is to get some of these beat the enemy quicker than usual things, because you never know how fast that is. So it's like, oh, and then, you know, on the alternate side, a situation in which I need to wait longer for an enemy to beat me. I've actually had a situation where I found myself stalling for an absurd amount of time before I got a specific dialogue that notified me, oh, okay, now I can win, and then we can get the other scenario. It's like, dude, we gotta have a better way to see this. We gotta have a better way to be able to do this. So in that sense, yeah, I would really appreciate it if we could get something of that caliber. That would make me super duper happy. And then lastly, on the story side of things, I'm probably going to talk about this in a future video soon, but I would also really appreciate it if we could get movie scenarios, because how are you going to sit there and tell me that Z Broly, Janemba, Android 13, all of these characters from the movies or OVAs or specials, BoJack or whatever, all of these characters are present, but there was no way to add them to the what if scenarios or to like the general stories of these characters? Like, they're all here. You had their voice actors do lines and stuff. Why are they not, why can't they have presence in the what if stories? Like, I feel like we're missing so many characters from the what if stories for whatever reason, and it's super strange. So I'm like, okay, I mean, you know, you guys used all this time and effort to make sure that these characters all played very well and they were all fun to utilize, and then you crafted the story mode. Why not utilize these characters in the story mode? These characters have all been present in a Dragon Ball story one way or another. Why are they not here? That's insane to me. So I guess that's my last wish on the story side. It's just that eventually, maybe through updates, DLC, again, I don't care how it happens, that we do get the movie scenarios. Because I know for a fact, I mean, we all know for a fact that we're going to be getting the Dragon Ball Super Hero DLC pretty early next year. So I would really appreciate it if we could get scenarios for that with, you know, Gohan and Piccolo and the Gammas and Cell Max and things like that, and them, you know, doing their thing in the scenarios, but then, you know, maybe some things drift off, or maybe, especially, I would love to see like the Broly movie. One of the Broly movies, there's 4 for Christ's sakes. Like, we couldn't get one instance of Broly, not even the canon Broly? Like, come on now. But I mean, that's just how I see it. I would just love to see, you know, a story mode or something along those lines where we can actually get a little bit of a fun version of the story of Janemba and fighting in HFIL. And by the way, we need that as a stage. Don't play with me. I don't care if y'all gotta port it in some way, shape, or form from Xenoverse. Give me HFIL, bro. That is a sick-ass stage. I refuse to let that not be a stage. Like, that is one of the sickest areas in Dragon Ball history. I love the design of that version of the world. I love HFIL. So, hand that over, please and thank you. That stemmed an idea for an entirely new video, by the way. We will be coming back to that. Anyway, For now, that just about does it for all the stuff that I need from the story mode. Now we can get into, actually, I guess one other thing for just quality of life stuff in general is more outfits for more characters. Like, there's a concerning lack of, like, you have this entire setup, like, for costumes and, like, what are those, accessories and things like that. A couple people can get halos and stuff like that. Not everybody can have a halo. Why not? Not everybody can have a sword or some glasses, or not even a lot of people don't even have alternative outfits. It's just like, what, this setup is available for everybody, and yet only specific characters have real access to this thing, to this whole menu. Like, surely you had more in mind to give these characters. Right? Because I'm telling you right now, if y'all came out with a costume pack for Videl or something like that, or for Janemba, or like just fun costumes for Vegeta or something, like, I'm telling you right now, I will be making those purchases. Like, I don't know what you want from me. I want more outfits for my characters here. And, at the very least, we're all going to be playing every variation of all of these characters. At some point or another, we're going to run into plenty. I mean, we already have been running into plenty of Ditto matches. Why not allow us to decorate these characters a little more with outfits, man? You have the menu here. Let's go. Let's update the models, man. I can't believe we don't have a modern Videl, for Christ's sakes. That's insane. Like, her model is in the game. I don't get it. I don't know how that happened. But regardless, do that. Let's get some updates for that. So now we move on to the most important aspect, which is the online and just all of that stuff. So let's just jump right into things. The first and most major thing that I think a majority of us can agree on is fixing that damn timer, dude. You cannot be serious. You guys introduced a lot of characters to us, and I'm very, very grateful. However, because of the menu design, it takes a little while to get through the entire cast of characters, even if you do know Dragon Ball Z by heart and you have a general idea of where those characters would be. However, that menu isn't the biggest thing in the world. It's going to be very easy to miss a lot of those characters, and only giving us a 45-second timer before a battle, whether it be online with friends or other, is way too short. That's way too short of a time limit to pick your character. Come on now. I mean, I mean, to an extent, I can get like playing online and stuff like that, but if we don't have a way to get to these characters much faster, and on top of that, we have to wait for these characters to do their little animations, like, it takes up so much time. And if we're doing team battles, God forbid we do team battles, it's a nightmare to get a full team, even in like regular battles with friends. Like, I prefer single battles because I don't need the 45-second timer to pick out the one character that I'm going to be playing as. I usually go into battle having a general idea of who I want to play for that, next couple of sets or whatever. But trying to set up a team for team battle or even DP, trying to see what characters fit the 15 number limit is a nightmare under that 45-second thumb. It's crazy that they decided that was like not even a full minute is crazy, man. Even another 20 seconds would be godlike, but 45 seconds is insane. And honestly, if you're playing with friends and stuff like that, there's no reason for that timer to exist. It's likely that if you're playing with your friends, you message them or you're already talking to them to play online. There's no reason for that timer to rush you to play them. That's insane. So yeah, let's go ahead and fix that timer, either upping it a ton or just, I don't know, giving it at least another like 30 seconds, for God's sakes. I think we could do a little more, for goodness me, especially at the very least, 45 seconds maybe for the single player, for like single battle, I get it. But for team and DP, we need another like 30, 40 seconds. Like, that's crazy, especially if we got to go through every single animation after picking a character. That's ridiculous. Like, there's absolutely no way in hell I'd be able to get through an entire team without knowing specifically who I want on my team. I don't have time to lollygag at all. I want to be able to lollygag a little bit. Goodness me. And then my final kind of semi-prominent thing is simply the fact that, especially in like friendly battles and stuff like that, we should be able to go back to the character select screen, not just so we can at least just be able to choose a different character. Like if I feel like I'm having a solid battle with some guy or whatever, I mean, I guess technically in, you know, the not ranked mode, the just fun battles mode, you can just go all the way back. But to have to go all the way back to the menu, choose choose your song, choose your stage, and then finally get back to the character select screen, I don't think we need to do all that. I think we could just go right back to either the select screen for the stage or the select screen for the character and just be able to change right then and there. Like, I don't think we need to go all the way back to the lobby for just to change characters. Like, that's insane to me. That's asinine. So maybe in an update or something like that, at the very least for the friendly battles or something like that, because I get it for ranked. Ranked is, you try to stick with that character or something. I can at least understand that. But for casual, no, we should be able to change up our characters, for damn sake. So at least that's my take on it. I really do think that that's something that can be reasonably implemented at some point down the line. But for the most part, I think that just about wraps it up. I think 20 minutes worth of wishes and demands isn't too crazy, especially if we're going to be spending a lot of our time on this game. This game is very, very fun, and it is damn near perfect. Easily one of the best anime games I have ever had the pleasure of holding in my hands. It is an incredible game. They cooked so incredibly hard, and I cannot wait to see what the future for this game holds, and I'm gonna be there for a majority of it, if not every step of the way, if I can help it. So I'm really looking forward to the future of this title here, and I really want to see a lot of these updates come to fruition, at least, if not all of them, maybe a couple of them. But Bandai is around. Like, they're a little frustrating sometimes, but they listen, they pay attention. And we made it very, I mean, you could see it in the the Grade 8 Vegeta tweets that they've been making. Like, they listen, they pay attention and stuff like that. So if we are loud enough to a lot of the things that we want to see, I'm sure that they'll have the team look into it and see how they can fix up some of our issues and stuff like that, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who has had issues with a lot of these things here. So down the line, we'll see what happens with that. But hey, you know what, maybe that is just me. But either way, that just about does it for this one. I am really excited for Metaphor, and it's going to be very hard to go back and forth between both, because I know I'm never going to want to put one or the other down. So I'm going to be I'm probably not going to make as much Metaphor content, maybe like a review down the line or something like that. But Dragon Ball, I've got a lot of content ideas, and one of them I'm going to advertise on both channels a lot is kind of like a chill weekend type situation where we just go online and we just battle, just see how we improve, and maybe just play with friends sometimes. We'll see what happens. But I want to do that as a little weekend series to just kick back with and stuff like that, while during the week you guys get the detailed discussions and things like that, like this one here, and then during the weekend you guys get the fun battle stuff and things like that. And obviously that wouldn't only apply to to Sparking Zero. Jeez, I have to get used to saying that name. But this wouldn't only apply to Sparking Zero. We have Rivals of Aether 2 coming out at the end of this month, as well as the new Bleach game coming out probably very early next year at some point. And I'm definitely, I see myself investing a lot of time and energy into both of these titles, as well as Sparking Zero. So this is definitely something I could for sure see myself doing every weekend. Just edit a little thing where we're just playing different characters, learning their ins and outs, and learning more of the tech and things like that, and just having a good time, whether it be by myself on ranked or in casual, or maybe with friends or something like that. And we'll play it by ear, because that sounds like a lot of fun, something I really want to do. So I don't know, I'm just putting that little bug in your ear. But for now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. But before I skedaddle on, obviously I would like to hear your guys' opinion on things as well. Would you guys like to see any of the updates that I've talked about in this video? Do you think that I'm kind of onto something and it makes sense, and a lot of these things sound familiar, and you'd want to see these changes implemented as well? Or are you on the opposing side? You don't think any of these changes need to be made at all? The game's story and online is perfect as it is, and they do not need to touch it at all. Tell me me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it is time for me to skedaddle alone, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I would like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.